Welcome to Exhibit Scotland. Today we're going to look at 3D Vista. We're going to look at Blender. If you've seen me here before, you were here with the last stream, or you've looked at the last VOD, then you'll see that at the end of the show there was lots of different assets that I showed off that were made basically with this iPhone 13 Pro. Interesting camera arrangement there. You've got three cameras, and also a lidar sensor in here as well, which does depth ranging and sensing to help basically with these phones with their augmented reality, their AR, kind of placing things in space. But yeah, it's kind of offered a few other interesting things too, like scanning objects, and yeah. So I've been using this camera for about 2 years now. When it first came out, I spent a lot of time with Manic142. We scanned his house, and we did that with lots of different. We tried out all the different Lidar and photogrammetry scanning apps that were available then. Must have been over 20 or so, and some of them had really interesting, were just really fun things. Like there was a helicopter game that was quite fun, and there was where you had to pick up rescue people, pick them up, and there was also some kind of like environment changing effects kind of experiences as well, which was quite good. We played around with them, and since then, really, what I've been doing is trying, like, going around my daily life, but finding things and thinking, right, I'm going to scan that because of XYZ quality. For example, the fineness of dandelion clocks, or the complexity of a thistle and all of its spines, different plants, etc. Without going into that in great depth, which I've done on other streams, and I will into again. I want to get into the program that you might take one of these um, assets into if you were going to do something like decimate the polygons to make it VR ready as an asset, so more lightweight basically. Up here I've got a 3090 graphics card. I've got 128 gigabytes of RAM in this computer, and it's all geared up for doing modeling, 8K video editing for 360 and stuff like that. Blender is this package you can see here. There's a kind of access navigator here, which you can basically drag around, and you can go under your asset, above it, etc. And you can see that this thing here goes around it as well. That's your camera. That's if you were going to take a render of this object for maybe making film or something like that, then say you've got a three-dimensional scene that's been created in Blender and you want to make a panning scene or something like that, or zoom in and out, whatever, that's your camera for doing that. And all sorts of different stuff actually. But yeah, generally that's a way of an idea of thinking about what this camera is. Down the side here you've got some controls, and across the top here there are different kind of tabs, if you like, of ways of viewing your asset. And there are some more controls down the side here, as well as a kind of stacking system, a bit like Photoshop, or a number of different programs that you've probably seen that in Premiere, etc. So it's just basically what are you doing to this asset in this scene, how many assets are in the scene, what's happening to them, etc., etc. These are many different renders, basically, or models, if you like, scans, photogrammetry, etc. And as you can see, I can turn it around, this around here, and using the navigator on the top right, I'm just left clicking and then just moving the mouse around, and it's enabling me to do that. And basically, once I decide I want to stop, everything kind of revolves around the center here. So I can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel, and you can start to see the shapes of these models. Now, this is kind of I kind of think about this as the clay look, like 'cause it reminds me of clay modeling when I was a kid at school. But here you can see it's inside the train station. There's a couple of train stations here, and yeah, we can. I'll explain a few strangeties. There's some railway line there. That's railway stations near me. There was so if we want to move this space, I can just crop it, make a selection tool like that across here, and then press G for grab, right? And then I can just move it around and then decide, well, where are we going to look next? So I think what we're going to do is we're going to have a wee look over here and amongst all these assets. So I'll stick the center down there. We're going to have a little look at those. Got some kind of signboards down here. They are interpretation boards from Loch Lomond's at the history trail there. And also there is, I don't know if you can see, there's a bit of wavy ground there. So that's a run rig, basically the old rig and furrow. There's a bit of a scan of that. So it's like scanning archaeology, basically. This here is the footprint of an old house, part of Rob Roy McGregor's house stead and stuff. There is an old building here, a cruck frame reconstruction building with thatched roof, which I helped build with volunteers. And there's a standing stone I scanned and did photogrammetry of. There's also a cannon and a kind of modern standing stone. And then down here, there are a few stuffed animals and stuff, and a map, and some artwork, and even an avocado, all sorts of things. And this big blob here is some Japanese knotweed. I was measuring Japanese knotweed with a LiDAR scanner, and there's a bit of a wall there with part of an exhibition and all sorts of interesting plants. So that's basically what I've been doing. What I wanted to find out was, how can I do this? What are the results that I get from doing these scans and doing this work if I just try? So all of these scans, everything you can see and everything we're about to have a look at with the textures, it's literally been like, I'll just walk around these trees and just go click, 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 click. You know, it's not putting it on a tripod and getting the focus right or anything. It's very just kind of like user testing, if you like. So there's different things I've done, like this one, for example. This is a building. And so what I did was I did a scan of the outside of the building, and then I went inside, and then I did a scan of the inside, and you can see the scan of the inside here. So once I got them into Blender, I cleaned it up a little bit, and then I plonked them in, basically using the windows as the way to marry them up. And it's not perfect, but I think, you know, considering that both of those scans took me probably 10 minutes absolute maximum, it's a really good start. You know, if you were thinking about, yeah, doing all sorts of different things. In fact, you know, the measurements, because it's a LiDAR scanner, the measurements should actually be true to life. Let's have another look at this same thing again, but now what we're going to do is we're going to look at it using this, which is called a modeling tab. Okay, so now what you can see are all the vertices, if you like. You can see the model and all the different points. This road, for example, probably doesn't need to be as detailed as it is. For example, if you're putting it in a game, but maybe that detail is really useful if you're measuring it and using it in an engineering context, for example. So I think that should make sense to people now. You can see it's kind of moved away, slightly away from. It doesn't quite look as as smooth as the kind of as it looked when it had the kind of clay version, the layout version, if you like. And then there's the sculpting one, and that again looks more like the clay one. Right, let's go back to the texture paint. See these. So this is a you can see the boat and the little boats and this kind of weird engine thing that was at a kind of show recently. But we're going to go. It does look really cool with the textures, doesn't it? Like it's like, and it's, as I said, I didn't spend a long time doing this. I just walked around these objects getting the scan, and you know, you can see, you can, you know, it's pretty good, you know, what it's done. And 3D Vista is really cool in that it has object detection. So it would, if you walked up to this wall, it would be like, oh, can't go further than that. So it understands the environment, whereas Blender will just infinitely go where you tell it to go. So you can just kind of go through things. So let's just, what we're doing here. It's a bit of a tree and stuff. Let's go over to the, oh, we're underneath the train tracks now. And it's kind of yeah, there's probably ways to navigate this, hotkeys and things to be allow me to sort of, but so you can see here that there's like a miniature station here, and then there's these two big ones. The two big ones are full size. One is a LiDAR scan, and one is a photogrammetry scan, and for comparison. But then one day I did another station, and it was a much larger space that I did, and it made it small. There's a pile of dirt there, which I scanned for looking at volume scanning. There's a vehicle there, and you see the road. There's trees. Trees are kind of strange, aren't they? The way it's kind of picked up the sky and the canopy together. I mean, that is because I was on the ground. The imagery from, like, let's go to trees, and you can see underneath it looks pretty good. You can see the branches and stuff, but it's just kind of where it's tried to make the decision up on its own as to what it's. But that's, I mean, that's cool, you know. It's not an undesirable thing. Maybe just something that help you to sculpt in, just take away the blue bits gradually until you've got the kind of bobbliness of the trees. See some of these other assets stuff here, and pictures on the wall and the statue. So you can see the statue there, you know, how big it is in comparison. There's another statue, and so that thistle that's over there is just, it's just humongous, you know. And yeah, so a lot of this has been done with LiDAR, some with photogrammetry, and yeah, so this is standing stones and Croc Frame House. And literally, I really didn't have time to go around the Croc Frame House. I just walked around it, and like, because I wanted to show somebody how fast you could do it and how much detail it picks up in so little time. So yeah, that's really what these have been. You know, literally, I've been at the station. I've had 3 minutes before the next train comes. What can I capture in that time? Probably the thing that I took the longest time over would be this one down here. No, it's moved away. That was because yeah, it was a very busy room, and I had a long time over it, and it had lots of reflective surfaces. And again, I was trying to work out, like, how far can I push this? And what I realized is it takes from really nice, like some furnishings it really likes. It really likes to get those reflective stuff it really hates. Um, yeah, so it's helping me learn a set of parameters. The only thing that's missing from this lot is a whole set of outdoor scans that I did at a festival, where I have DJed at for about 7 years now. Yeah, so I've basically made this park to explore, and then you can see those pictures and stuff over there, um, on the wall. Some awesome pictures. Again, that was a photogrammetry, rather than the lidar scan. That wall. Yeah, it was interesting because there was a lot of reflection in that room because it was one wall and the rest of it was glass, actually all glass walls. So there's a lot of reflections and lights and things. Yeah, it was, you know, what you don't want when you're doing this sort of thing is to bake shadows, your own shadow, onto the image as you're going around, cast a shadow, and for it to take lots and lots and lots of kind of imprints of a human figure. And that was kind of happening when I did that. So some other pictures and paintings over there, which are part of another project that I'm doing, which I'm not going to probably explore too much today, because that's for another show. Um, and yeah, this building, and you can see there's a bit of a hole in the wall there, and yeah, the internal bit of the building is there too. In there, just move the whole model over a bit. Let me do that. Go to layout again. Just dump us in there, see what happens. So there you go, you can see my friend. That's Manic 142's flat there that we did to scan. That's one of the first ever scans that we did. This one is the one I was telling you about, the kitchen with all the different furnishings and reflective surfaces, and cats making holes by following me around. um, yeah, so you can see this is, for if you wanted to make a floor plan of a building, or something like that, and you didn't want to have to go around measuring it a lot, an awful lot, you could literally, I walked around this building in like under 5 minutes, scanning the outside of it. And then again, the internal, it was under 5 minutes. I had only had probably about 7 minutes before I had to be doing something and just grab this moment, which is why you can see it's a bit shonky, but ultimately, like, those measurements are like more or less accurate, to scale. And you can see the desk and stuff in there, and the kitchen and the door and stuff. So if you wanted to then make a floor plan diagram or something based on this type of approach, in fact, there are apps that will literally do that for you, right now. And we were playing with them 2 years ago, and I know for a fact that they have improved since then. So probably a more fun way to work, than just like measuring and taking notes and then having to then reconstruct from your paper notes and photographs or whatever, to basically being able to just do this and then say, right, okay, I'm now going to draw over this in a program like AutoCAD, or something like Revit, one of the Autodesk programs. So really, really great. Yeah, time saving, and yeah, it just makes the workflow, I think, more fun. You see, it all kind of looks a bit different in this. It's a little bit brighter. And there you go. You can see a shadow there baked onto the wall. That's what you don't want to do. So yeah, interesting. you look here, there's water running down the wall. I didn't really notice that when I was doing the capture, but it's evident afterwards that there's some issue there with moisture on that bit of wall. And maybe the guttering needs to be cleared or something. Maybe this downpipe is blocked and it's backing up or something. But yeah, that's it's true to life observations um, um, are there. Some of it is a bit not true to life though as well. If you look at the corner here, so it's not perfect. It's not an exact science, but it seems, but useful tools. So we've got our models, and that was too big for 3D Vista to ingest and use. So what I had to do is I had to split it up into different sectors basically. And so let's have a look at one of these. So we'll just jump over into the textured stuff. Let's see if we can go through this, the tunnel of love, and go through the tunnel of love. Boom, onto the bridge, through, and then I did two. And then this is some mad artwork done by a guy, local artist. I did one with two photogrammetry and one Lidar, and the Lidar really struggled to understand the information, and it ended up kind of bringing these different layers, which was really cool. Anyhow, so we'll have a little look at that in a minute. So you can see there in front of us here, there's one of the kind of dance areas, like a bar. There's basically a bar with the Tyco sound system in it. And this was the last, this is what it was like the last time I was there, this summer. And yeah, we had a good time in here and fun. And yeah, the tree house is up there on the tree, in the tree or whatever. That's the kind of like the den where all the equipment lives, all the stuff to run the rig and everything like that, all the electrical gear and stuff, all safe and sound away from the rain, etc. So yeah, there's the treehouse up there where we DJ. And yeah, in order to clean this model up, basically there was lots of little artifacts all over the place. So how do you grab that blob and not the rest of everything around it? That's the tricky thing. You have to be able to basically put it into the environment where there's nothing going on behind it. So see, this is the Blender background. So I can get rid of some of these vertices here. I can select. But if I put it any higher, it'll start biting into that bit behind it. So you just kind of have to zip around in different directions, slowly but surely, kind of going up. Oh, I can get rid of quite a lot of it in that bit there to cut this bit out. And obviously once you move that bit, then you can move it up a little bit and then get the stuff below it. So deleting vertices is pretty much this kind of affair, and that's done in the modeling tab. So, scanning your room or whatever. I mean, I didn't have much time. I was probably took under 5 minutes to scan this space, maybe a touch more, but around 5 minutes probably by guesstimate. I literally just walked around it. I wanted to try and get a decent scan, so I did take a little bit more time going around these barrels to try and make sure that it did work. The issue with doing a lot of these, let's see, it's grabbed the top of that. I don't want to do that. The issue with the LiDAR scans, when I first started using this app, which is called Metascan, when I first started using it, I saw that basically you could kind of like override your scan by scanning too much in one spot. I had to clear up what was going on around the treehouse in order to be able to put the internal scans that I took inside the treehouse up in the tree and make it look pretty much kind of like a kind of representation of what it really looks like. So yeah, there's two scans here. There's the inside, like with the other building, there's an internally scanned scan of the treehouse plopped basically into the spot where the treehouse is, using the external scan of the X side of the treehouse as the kind of boundary. And some of it's a bit strange because that bit there is actually a branch that comes up through. You see that branch that comes up through the tree. So there's a kind of hole there because obviously I haven't scanned inside the tree branch. But yeah, this is pretty groovy, really. Interesting ways, good for if you want to, if you've got a movie set or something like that, and or yeah, I mean, this is really detailed stuff. There's a lot of texture, a lot of stuff going on here, a lot of different light and color and everything. So it's very, very challenging for it, and that's again what I've been trying to do, challenge it. There's a nighttime scan inside there. Now, this is actually a 3D model, though. You could technically you could take the information from this out, put it into a 3D printer, and actually print out these things in the environment. I mean, okay, you're not going to see the textures, but I would print out much like you see it here in the modeling way. Okay, so 3D Vista. Once you get one of your files, import it into 3D Vista, brings you up, it gives you, basically asks you what type of, and we did this last stream, asks you what kind of viewpoint you want to do. And then you can import the file. So this is the first one we played with. The last stream. And basically you right click and it kind of corkscrews you down to the level that you want to be. Got this big giant cube here, bonk. So you just decide, I mean, do you want to be a dog? You want to be a human? How big a person? How big like where's your camera view ultimately? So I reckon that's a good human perspective. Then I'm going to click that to make it go into human view, street view kind of thing. Now when I look around, I've got the asset and I can move around in it like that. I can move around in it forward and back with my mouse wheel, but I can also move around in it by clicking like so, bringing up this little navigator thing. Then I can just touch the mouse a little bit and look at us. We're moving in that direction. It's kind of terrain aware. Let's go up the hill here. There we go. And go back down again and down, a little bump over the curb. See, little bump, and bump up the curb. Which is kind of cool. Of course, you can do this with the keys as well on your keyboard. So go up on those palettes. No. Yeah, it goes up on the palettes, up onto the amazing. It's a bit like skateboarding. But if I double click onto there and then press forwards, no, it bumps into there. Oh, no, that's bumped into there because I've fallen off the bin. How did I get up there before? Is that a glitch or is it a feature? Double click and it goes up. Double click. So double click will maybe just take you anywhere you ask it to go. If you can go up there, it will, if there's a place for you to be. I love this. I love this. It's so cool. Look at that, look at that, look at that dodgy road. It really needs fixed, you know? And yeah, what I could do is I could go in my model on 3D on Metascan. I can actually say put a point there and put a point here, and then it'll tell me the distance that is. You know, it's damn cool. Then I can, if you wanted that sort of information, then you or your worker or whatever could basically overlay that information. So I should bump into this. Do the fish. And I should bump into those doors. Seem to be quite tall there. And when you walk up, oh look, you can walk onto the cannon and fall into it. And you can fall into the hole in the cannon. Yeah, that's quite funny. Can you step up on there? No, you can't. We'll bump into it, but if I double click, it'll go onto it. We can stand by the man. Hello, fishman. Fish cross. And there is this exhibition of lovely paintings. Look at that lovely painting there. Isn't that amazing? It's like the bridge over the River Aire and sunset and the old buildings, and it's all like interesting textures. And let's just go a little bit lower down so we can see that a bit better. Oh, didn't expect it to do that. Zoomed in a wee bit too much. Amazing picture there. There's another picture there of the bridge as well. Let's walk along a little bit. Look at that big man there. This big wooden man. Oh, we're going past that picture. So the picture looking up over the bridge. So if you look at that picture there is drawn, painted from over this side of the bridge, looking towards these buildings. Let's see. There's another. So that looks like a kind of photographic painting. It might even be a photograph. There's another picture taken from the bridge of another bridge down, and there's like a girl there and stuff. And then we just kind of like go down the exhibition, looking at the different pictures. I really like this one actually, number 6, because it's made out of all of those. Well, that scene there is made out of little bits of paper, all little different scraps of paper, making up the different shadows and everything like that. And I thought that was really inventive, and it also was really good for like the 3-dimensional kind of look. So yeah, I was impressed by that one a lot. My favorite was the first one that I looked at, probably followed by that one, and then this one was my third favorite. So yeah, that was a local competition, and that was one wall basically. The other walls were very had lots of shadows and reflections on from the windows that I mentioned earlier. So I just chose to keep that as a kind of an object of representation of what could be done. So yeah, this is in Glasgow Central Station, this wooden statue person. So I just walked around that in a very busy time of day, taking photographs to see if I could get a scan. Tomorrow is a wonderful vision you had today. It begins in contemplation and in courage. It meets the light of Glasgow, past and present, and is somehow sharpened by it, joining with the vision of others to make a brand new way of seeing. Andrew Hagen. So yeah, this is a kind of interesting sort of layered model of a person, of a human being. And there's some nice wee sayings and stuff on it. But yeah, that's a life-size model, as you can see. You can see the wall behind there. See the statue here. All these things are true to life scale, which is, I think it's quite amazing, really. That is actually that big, and it's captured it, and it's understood all of that, and same with this standing stone and everything. Here's some modern kind of standing stone. And then if we start looking at scales and things, we can have a look at this map. So this is a map of an area of Scotland where the Queen Elizabeth Forest Park is. And this is Loch Lomond, Ben Lomond, and a few different lochs, basically, around Loch Lomond and the Trossachs. And this is a 3D map, basically made, I assume, from old school photography taken from probably airplanes. So because this is a 3D model in itself, a 3D scan of a 3D model, we can actually go down into these glens. I mean, okay, the resolution is very, very low, you know, but we could fly up Loch Lomond along a model. So these are the islands of Loch Lomond that we're going down to. Now we're going to go into first person view, and here we are. Look at the mountains there beside us, and then we can actually fly. Let's go a wee bit lower still. Oh, that's not going to do that. Okay, so, and then we can just fly up Loch Lomond slowly but surely. Which is pretty cool. So we climb on top of Ben Lomond. Let's go up on Ben Lomond. There we go. It's us standing on top of Ben Lomond now, looking around. Like a giant, like Fionn and his other giant pals. That's Finn McCool to you and me, Fionn McCumhale, one of the giants that was responsible for making much of the land around Scotland the way it looks. So yes, look at this giant. We are giants walking about over the hill and glen of Scotland. Ah, I love this. I love the fact that it goes up and down like that. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So I just walking around on the mountains of Scotland. So yeah, I mean, if you've got a model railway set or something like that. Oh, we got stuck. Did we get stuck? No, can we get on? Can we not get on top of there? Oh, it's a bit too steep, is it? No, we're okay. So yeah, if you've got a model train set or something like that, and you wanted to like make VR of your own model train set, you could do that with this, basically, because you can export this into an output which you can explore in your VR headset. And then you could like basically, yeah, go and hang out with your own model train set and stuff, which I suppose would be novelty but fun. And I'm sure if I think about it a bit longer, I think of some really good ways of using it. Interestingly, all right, okay, so let's fly off, bump over these, boom, bump over the mountains, boom, 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 bump over mountains. Right, and now we're like a mouse or a rat, and on the ground. What's down here? Anything? bit of chewing gum. Look at us bumping over the cobbles here. I really like that. I really like that it understands topography and will make you move across it like that. So what I wanted to do with this one is I wanted to find out if I was to do photogrammetry, that's photographs of a very fine plant subject, like how fine could it work? And this is what's called, this is Jack by the hedge, or garlic mustard, in amongst some, I think it's pink campion, and you can see the plant that is the kind of the focus of it here. It's this one with the white flowers on it, and it has managed to kind of get the stem of it to some degree, and yeah, let's see if we can move around it with the like in butterfly mode, so to speak. It's actually bumping up and down on the, like, what it perceives as being terrain, which is the other plants here on this 3D space. Yeah, so you can actually move around this garlic mustard and kind of zoom in and out of it. I mean, this is very, very, very close up. You know, this is like probably what it would look like in a VR headset. This is nettles. Let's get to the mouse eye view, or at least a cat eye view maybe. So this is some nettles growing up beside this little bit of wood, stump of wood, and yeah, it's, look at the nettle seeds. Cool. You see them, like these little nettle flowers rather. Okay, so this is Japanese knotweed growing in the bushes. Again, like with the tree, you can see the sky gets grabbed. This is a LiDAR scan, and the idea was I wanted to be able to show the local council or just show people that you can scan a bush. Basically, you can scan the size of it and the height of it, and really get have quite a good representation of it. You could just take a photo of it, I suppose, and put a couple of measurements beside it, but you know, this is a different way of doing it. Can I stand on top of that? I can, but I'll fall. Will it allow me to hop across to this one? Amazing. Woohoo! Let's see if I can hop back. Amazing. Hop across there. Yep, I'll do that. Oh no, I fell. Go up, go up. Keep jumping, keep jumping. You. Am I up here? Yes. So yeah, there's definitely a feeling of being able to move around here. Let's see if I can go on the leaf down there. No. Oh, I just moved down onto this. Can I go there? Right, yeah. Can I go out to the edge? Oh, no. Oh, I fell off. Climbing around on the thistle is quite cool. I just fell down again. It's kind of like an aphid's eye view. So yeah, this is some Spanish bluebells, garden variety, blobby kind of looking, but yeah, kind of looks like bluebells. So here we've got some squirrel footprints in the mud, and yeah, so they're just kind of floating, some floating footprints. Next up, we've got some actual, these are Scottish bluebells, native bluebells, and that's a scan that I did down by the river when my friend was doing some fishing. Let's get a bit lower actually. Still, let's go and have a look at the leaves and see how crinkly they are. So yeah, a real in the bushes experience. Again, this could do with being cleaned up a lot. I've not really cleaned any of this up, but there's some blobs. There's a blob there, it could be gone. That actually is a plant, so I could leave that. So let's go over here. Next one is, this is ragwort. And what's cool about this is it's even got some cinnabar moth caterpillars on. See the orange and black stripy things that are there and there and on there. And there's some more over here and here. Yeah, but it looks a bit, although the general impression and shape of it, like if you were to see it from here sort of thing, and you were running about in a game and whatever, let's try this now. Yeah, if you're just kind of moving around it in a game sort of thing, you're like, oh yeah, that's an interesting plant. I must get some of that for my, no, don't get any of that. It's got cyanide in it. So again, here's the thistles. Now you can see, I mean, this was a really complex scan for it to try and work out. And I think it's done incredibly well actually. It's managed to get individual spike, sort of main stems, as well as, some of these individual heads. And from that perspective of it being something that you don't get too close to really inspect, but close enough, from the kind of point of view, if you were making a Scottish game or something like that, and you wanted to have an environment that you walked through or something, and I think most people would recognize that as thistles. Maybe if you had some sort of way in the game to create a boundary to so they couldn't go right up to it and really look at it, but you could only go close enough, sort of thing. A pathway or something that you couldn't really go off. That might be quite interesting. But yeah, I think most people enjoy free roaming, as I do, like this. So maybe I'm thinking into it too much. So this looks like a bit of bramble, that bit. This looks like some nettles as well there. And this is definitely feverfew. Look at that sunny feverfew. I like the fact that we can walk up to it as well. So it's good for headaches, for fevers, if you like. What else is there? Looks like some rose bay willow herb. Yeah, I'd say so. So yeah, it looks pretty strange from below. But if we go up a bit and look at it like that, it looks really nice. doesn't it? And that's, you know, considering that it's got all those little heads, you know, look at those floating heads, you know, to get all the different stems and stuff. You know, I think if, as long as you don't have, as long as you don't enable the gamer or whatever to go too low, but if it's only viewed like that ever, then it looks like the thing. You know, it looks pretty much like the real thing. I'm pretty sure if you put that in front of some botanists and said, "What's that?" they'd say, "Well, it looks pretty much like feverfew, but it might be something else," you know, because but put in context with other plants, then there you go. You know, like this rosebay willow herb here. It's growing up at the side there. Isn't that cool? So yeah. Oh, look, and there's some sticky willy in there as well. There, look, see? Some cleavers. We call it sticky willy. And what else is up here? Sticky willy's going all through that. What else is in there? That kind of parsley looking one. Is that the feverfew or not? Of course, there's all this green stuff as well, and that's horsetail. So yeah, it's quite a lot going on in that one. Same with this one, it's got some dock growing in there. And what else have we got? What else have we got? It's a spear thistle, if anyone wants to know what type of thistle this is. And it looks like some more horsetail in there. Definitely dock, nice big dock leaf there. Yeah, and it's actually, that could be measured again, you know, relatively. What else have we got over here? We've got some ramsons. This is also known as wild garlic, and this was taken. See all that moss and stuff in there as well. It's pretty awesome getting in amongst all that. Yeah, the flowers themselves are a bit blobby, and the leaves and the kind of, you know, the fact that you can get in behind the leaves and stuff like that, I really think that's cool. You know, it's not just one kind of blob with the texture on it. It is actually 3D. You know, that I think I like that. So over here we've got dandelions. The dandelions prove to be really tricky to get. They just end up like with these yellow blobs. Really seems to. I noticed that some cameras struggle with capturing the color red. Either if you zoom into the files, into the photographs, you see it sort of it kind of bleeds out into the colors around it sometimes, and I wonder whether that's what happened here, sort of thing that didn't really manage to capture. You know, you can see one of them there, kind of baked into the grass. See there, the kind of worm of a stem there. But yeah, where's the rest of them? So the dandelions never seem to have done too well stem wise. Right, what have we got here? That's the nettle. Or is that another thing? That might be another nettle. Let's look at the flowers and stuff on that one. I like that. Maybe it's the same one. I think most people would identify that as a nettle. It's actually got bugs on it as well. Look at that. You can see the bugs on the nettle, right? You know, that's attention to detail, you know. Imagine that. See the spines of the nettle, that's what stings you. But the fact that it's got aphids, you see them there, 3 small ones and 1 bigger one, another one there. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, if you were trying to, if you were the surveyor and you were out and you thought you could see some sort of, you know, damage to trees by weevils or something like that, or I don't know, some poison or something like that, you could scan it and then bring it back, and it's really a very good thing to be able to explore. Great asset to be able to explore. Right, let's go and have a look at these cowslips. I love this scan. It's so good. So I took a bit of time with this one compared to, well, I suppose the plant ones I took a bit more time with, but I was able to also steady my body because I was kind of going around this so low down to the ground. Pretty sure I steadied my body on the ground for nearly every shot, which I think just made for just a much nicer output eventually. You know, if somebody said, could you identify that plant? I reckon most people that are botanists would be able to correctly identify the plant from the asset. You know, so with that in mind, you could create a whole suite of education about plants that people could experience in a really interesting ways. You know, and plant communities. I mean, look at the clover there as well, and you know, all sorts of things. Plant pests, all sorts, all in 3D VR. You know, and get right up and close and personal with it all. You know, and I just love this. I think it's amazing because this is like kind of really moving it forwards into reality capture for VR, and yeah, super excited about it really. You know, that could make an educational experience based on assets and you see bit of this is toad flax, a bit of rose bay willow herb there as well. Look at that, the bee runway and stuff. What else have we got here? I really like the flag iris. Flag iris is cracking. It's really good. And the orchid's pretty good as well. I think it maybe took me between 5 and 10 minutes to get all the shots for the orchid. So I knew that I would need lots and lots to get the right detail. But yeah. Okay. Well, that worked. I'm pleased that worked quicker than I thought it would. And this is the beautiful foxglove head. That worked pretty well as well. The rest of the foxglove just disappeared, just a thin stem basically. But yeah, I suppose that could be recreated. And this was me playing around with another dandelion a bit later in the year and seeing how it could do with the old dandelion clock. And as you can see, the dandelion clock is pretty blobby, and I mean, it's done its best, I suppose. From a distance, it looks like a dandelion clock, doesn't it? Isn't that cool? All the moss and stuff as well. We're like a squirrel eye view climbing up the tree here. Oh, not so, not so. So yeah, this is really nice. Isn't that cool, guys? The texture of the 3D on the moss is great. You can almost feel how wet that is. Isn't that great? The detail in that. I was going through it. When you go through it, it disappears. So yeah, I'm just fascinated really with this. I mean, I think it's fabulous. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over here and let's go over to this bit of wood here. Beep, beep. So on this bit of wood, I'm going to put a hotspot. And so let's go hotspot. And I just click there. Will that do that? No. Okay, so I have to open the hotspots up and just go floor and I'll take a button. Let's put an orange button on the floor just for fun. Let's put it on there. Okay. So we've got an orange button on our floor there. On our bit of wood. Right, so what happens when somebody presses the button? We want to add an action. When they press that button, I want a new 3D model to appear. Right, so we're going to do that one, and we're going to unclick, we're going to open Model E. Okay, so let's preview this then. I'm supposed to be able to click on this one, and it's supposed to take me through and open up a new model. Okay, so let's have a look at and see if it does that. 3, 2, 1, click. Wow, there we are. It clicked. It took a short while, but then here I am with pets. This is Trig with his toes sleeping on the windowsill. So yeah, this is what I've been doing for not like intensively or anything like that, but just every now and again, if I see something and I feel like I've got a right moment, I'm like, I'm going to scan that. It could be a bit of world, it could be a bit of something or other, you know, like a bit of world. I mean, like a station or a car or whatever, a building. We've got somewhere quite interesting with it. Let's be a bumblebee. Nom, 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 nom. Oh, I missed it. I'm being blown away by the wind. Ah, ah, ah. Nom, 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 nom. Bzz, 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 bzz. Okay, all right. I think I've had enough.